everybody. This is Shushoku Cafe. Thank you for watching. I'm Takeshi of Quick USA, Japanese recruiting company, and here is our host, Kasha-san.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kasha from Ikigai Connections, and I run the job board called nihongojobs.com.
All right, thank you. Today, we're going to talk about how to relocate to Japan, but a little bit more focusing on about MBA as well. And we have a special guest today. First one is Nick from Japan Remotely. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nick, founder of Japan Remotely. And at my company, we help people answer the question, how do you move to Japan?
All right, thank you. And also, we have a special guest, Corey from Globis. Can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Corey. I work for a university, a graduate school specifically in Japan called Globis. I work around the admissions, and it's a pleasure to meet everybody today.
All right, thank you. Kasha-san, I think this is one of the most asked questions from our audience, like how to relocate to Japan, how to live in Japan, right?
Yes, we get this quite often. And, we can always give them great answers like, you have an exchange program in your school, or maybe there's a university program. Of course, the JET program, we'll add the links in the description for how to do the JET program. It's a 3-part series. There's also the MEXT scholarship, which is something your consulate is taking care of. But there's also, of course, getting an English teaching job and a regular job. But we've not talked much about how an MBA program can get you to Japan. So that's why I'm really excited to hear more about this from Globis. So, Corey, why don't you give us a little bit of an overview about what kind of option this is to get to Japan?
Absolutely. So, as you might be able to imagine, it is an MBA program. The one we provide, which is a way to relocate to Japan, would be a 1-year accelerated full-time program. So, as the name suggests, you will be relocating to Japan for a year under a student visa. You'll be studying full-time, day and night, as a student in the heart of Tokyo, actually, where our campus is located right near the Imperial Palace. You have access to all the fun leisures in Tokyo. Once you go through the studies, you'll actually also be able to participate into an internship program. This is about 2-month paid internship with one of our 150 corporate partners. And about 60% actually get a job offer from them. So it's a 1-year program in the heart of Tokyo with a process to be able to get a career potentially through an internship program, and our career support after that is also there too.
Wow, that is really neat. The fact that you actually have this support that's tied in is something that I find very remarkable. And then this internship program, if you don't mind, I want to ask you kind of a follow-up question. So once a student goes through this MBA program, which they have the visa support to get to Japan first, then they get this opportunity to do an internship in Japan. What are your students usually doing after? Can they find employment there? Do they find something with a visa? So people know that they can stay longer in Japan.
Absolutely. So I'll start off with the visa question, then I'll go over to the employment question. So for our visa, I mentioned it's a 1-year visa, but through our visa, you can actually convert it into a job hunting visa for an additional year. It's in 6 months increments, so it's a bit more paperwork, but you can stay for an additional year after you graduate. Regarding the working, to answer your question, yes. About 86% of our students get a full-time job within 6 months of graduating. 77.7% actually decide to stay in Japan. And that is with a visa-provided employer. So you have about a 70% chance of staying in Japan.
That's really incredible. So I'm sure that our viewers might have some questions. So we will definitely add in the description information for the Globis program, how to go there, what the whole program entails. And I'm sure if you have any questions, the staff at Globis will be very happy to answer. And one more quick follow-up. I heard that in Globis, you can also take the the courses in English as well as in Japanese. Can you talk about that super quick?
Absolutely. So at Globis, at our full-time MBA program, at the baseline, it is an English provided program. So you'll be learning, speaking, and participating in English. That being said, at Globis, you could take up to 30% of your course in Japanese as well. So if you have Japanese proficiency, if you want to take specific courses in Japanese, you are more than welcome to take up to 30% of your studies courses in Japanese as well. So if you're confident in your skills, I recommend it. It's really useful to promote that to companies in Japan. You took this specific course that relates really closely to your industry background or the job you want to do in Japanese. So you can say, I can do it in English, I can do it in Japanese, whatever you want me to do, throw it at me.
That is fantastic, and I will absolutely recommend it, especially because my experience as I was in a master's program in Japan as well, and it was all in Nihongo, 100%. I had to learn how to present in Japanese, and that's kind of where I learned my keigo. I'm going to start my presentation. 発表, 始めさせていただきたいと思います. And now it rolls off my tongue, but I had to practice it until it was painful. So taking a course in the Japanese language will also be a great way to improve and skyrocket your level. So thank you, Corey, for sharing about that. Now, this kind of leads me to my next topic, which is something I'd like to ask Nick about.
Yeah.
We hear about these out-of-box scenarios to work in Japan, but you often talk about something called a business manager visa. And I'll be honest, I actually don't know much about this. And so can you give us a little bit of history and tell us what these other options could be?
Yeah. In my practice, I typically help my clients with three critical areas: thinking about their lifestyle, their business, and then their visa. And on the visa side of things, as you mentioned, there's one that is less common, especially for people from the West to use, called the business manager visa. It's actually kind of a hot topic right now. With the business manager visa, essentially, it's for people that want to start a company in Japan. And with that process, you can become a business owner. Now, until very recently, the barrier to entry to open a company in Japan was about 5 million yen to start, and then whatever it took to build the company after that. It could be anything. But recently, it's had some negative publicity in the Japanese press, and Japanese politics were pretty quick to capitalize and address those issues. And now, to start a company in Japan with a business manager visa, there's some increased requirements, including the financial requirement of 30 million yen to open the company. In addition to tying into Globis, you need to prove that you have management experience in one or two ways. The first is by having an MBA or a higher degree. And then the second could be if you have documentable experience managing a company. It's not quite clear yet what that management experience will entail, but you'd need to have an employer write something for you that says, Mr. Smith has done management, or you'd have to be able to prove that you're a CEO of a company.
Oh, Kasha-san, I think you muted.
Apologies. Thank you. Thank you so much for that information. It was very interesting. And just so everybody knows, we're actually going to go in a little deeper dive into visas in the next video. So be sure to watch that, which will come out in about 2 weeks. So in the meantime, though, this information is fascinating to anybody who wants to get to Japan. And Nick, is there anything else that we may have missed when it comes to relocation to Japan that we haven't already brought up?
I get a lot of different people that come to my services, and they all have different goals. But one nice thing about starting out with some sort of school, whether it's MBA or whether it's a master's like you did, there's a lot of logistics support that they provide. Most of my clients have traveled to Japan but haven't lived there themselves. And if you haven't before, it's complicated. So the JET program is another similar, it's not a graduate school, but it's another program that can really hold your hand through the whole process. Depending on your level of adventure and willing to stumble through it, you might be able to do it yourself. But think about those details in terms of physically getting from point A to point B, and think about maybe a program that could help.
Fantastic. So before we wrap up and I pass over the mic to Takeshi-san, I would like to ask Corey and Nick just a final bit of parting advice you may have for anybody out there who, is looking for a different way of getting to Japan besides the usual ways that everybody talks about, just like some kind of, confidence booster or anything that you'd like for them to keep in mind.
Absolutely. I'll start off then. So I guess one of the advice / confidence booster that I would give people is once you're in Japan, it's a pretty comfortable and safe and convenient country. So as Nick mentioned, through the JET program or through Globis, you'll have a lot of support. If you decide to use a program such as that is one avenue. But if you even decide to go by yourself, a lot of people are nice, generous. As long as you get in, you'll be able to survive.
I think that's one nice thing about Japan is that once you get over the hurdle of getting there, whether it's as a student or as an English teacher as a first step, once you're there, it's pretty easy to pivot. Some countries like the United States or the UK, your status is tied to a school or to a job. But in Japan, it's pretty easy to go from being a student to employed, or from employed to being a business owner. It's that first hurdle getting there. So I would encourage people, if you've been sitting on the sidelines for years and been trying to get over there, maybe applying for jobs online, first think about maybe the easiest way you could do it. And then once you're there, use it as a stepping stone to something else.
Takeshi-san, what do you think?
That's very good. I always had the same question, where to start? And it looks so high, the hurdle. So
Yeah.
it's a good idea, like using JET program or Globis, like some of the system to getting first or something like that. And then from my standard point of view, like we working as a recruiter, and like so many times when you're fresh graduate, if you don't have any hard skills, or if you went to the JET program, and if you want to transit to the corporate, and then it's very difficult to prove your hard skill about, if you want to go for corporate, about management or about the businesses, then that's also a good way, to pivot your interest for the corporate. Is doing for MBA, it's going to be the proving that, you are interested in working in a corporate, something like that. So, wow, I still want to ask so many questions more, but we're gonna leave the information in the comment about Nick and about Coley in here. So if you want to have any question, please reach out to them directly, and they are more than happy to answer for the questions. And then we're gonna shoot another video, and another one we're gonna talk about not only for the MBA but different way, and also a little bit more specific about the visa differences of the visa as well. So. Thank you so much for listening today, and then we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Done it.
Bye.